coating to cushion the fiber, and the fiber is at the center of the cable, and it consists of cladding and core. Both we have discussed cladding and core. Now there are three types of connectors. We can use subscriber channel connector, that is SC connector, for connecting fiber optic cables, and this is basically used for cable TV. So in earlier days when we had cable TVs before set-top boxes, or maybe for set-top boxes, if you're using at the subscriber and if you're using a fiber optic connector and the cable, then you can use the SC connector for connecting it to the cable TV. It uses a push-pull locking system. Then we have the straight tip, that is ST connector, used for connecting cable to networking devices, and it uses a bayonet locking system and is more reliable than SC connector. And MTRJ is kind of RJ45 we discussed previously for connecting the LANs and hubs. And it is a connector that is the same as RJ45. So you can see here, figure 7.15. SC connector is of this type on the top left corner. And then you have ST connector. You can see this is the top right corner. And on the bottom you have now you can see MTRJ connector is having two points, which is one is RX and another is TX. RX, TX is receiver and transmitter. Okay, RX is for receiving and TX is for transmission. So this is basically MTRJ connector. Now if you compare the performance of optical fiber optic cable and coaxial cable in twisted pair. So this is very but it has a better performance than coaxial cable and twisted pair, and attenuation is flatter than in case of a twisted pair cable and coaxial cable. And you can see here, so as the wavelength increases, the loss is comparatively less. So you can see at only 1400 mm this wavelength, only attenuation is higher, but as you increase the wavelength, attenuation is less. You can see the attenuation chart. So this is the loss in decibels on y-axis, and on x-axis you have the wavelength of the light ray in millimeters. Now, what are the applications of optical fiber? They are often used as a backbone networks, and because they have a high bandwidth and they're cost effective. So when you suppose you have a telephone network or a mobile network or maybe some communication network, for that if you are having a backbone network through which the subscribers, offices and the individual homes are connected, then at the backbone of that network you can use optical fibers because they have a higher bandwidth and higher data rate. So and there you need to have a higher end devices and higher end networking. So there you can use fiber optical cables. And so today WDM we use for at the data rate of 1600 Gbps. So you can see, you can connect, you must have heard that most of the universities and most of the offices in India, most of the big companies, they have their own optical fiber network and optical fiber backbones because they offer a high data rate networks to their employees and to their customers. So basically fiber they use a higher end because the data rate is 1600 Gbps. So there is another SONET network, we'll discuss it later, SONET network, and it is basically used as a backbone for higher data rate networks. So some cable TV companies use a combination of optical fiber and coaxial cable, thus creating a hybrid network. So अगर केबल टीवी कंपनीज की बात करें तो उनका जो बैकबोन है वो ऑप्टिकल फाइबर का है, बट जो कोएक्शियल केबल है वो ट्रेडिशनली जो कि पहले भी यूज करते थे, तो एट यूजर्स एंड कस्टमर्स होम they are still using coaxial cable, using BNC connectors and all this. Then optical fiber provides a backbone structure while coaxial cable provides a connection to the user premise that we have discussed. So this is a cost-effective configuration since the narrow bandwidth requirement at the user end does not justify the use of optical fiber. So normally we don't use at the customer end, we don't use the optical fiber, we only use coaxial cable because that can have a data rate of around 30 Mbps or 50 Mbps or maybe 100 Mbps at the most maximum, because at customers end you don't require a higher bandwidth. So, but at the backbone network, you will be requiring a more very high data rate bandwidth or a higher bandwidth. Therefore, we can use an optical fiber. We can replace that network with the optical fiber network if it is still with using some other network strategy. And then we can have local area networks such as 100 base FX networks, fast Ethernet, and 1000 base X also use optical fiber cable. So there are various advantages and disadvantages of optical fiber. Everything which we use, it has pros and cons. So advantages are higher bandwidth, less signal attenuation, immunity to electromagnetic interference. Now you can see when we were transmitting the signals, electrical signals through coaxial cable and twisted pair, the signals were interfering. Suppose you are having another device, electrical device, which is operated near the cable to which you are transmitting your cable data or network data. So they were interfering with the data or the signal which was traveling through your computer network or your networking cable. But in case of optical fiber, there is no electromagnetic interference and the data will travel in the form of light only. The signals will travel in the form of lights. So there will be no interference. So that's a basic, very great advantage in case of optical fiber. And as we have seen the properties of multimode and single mode fibers, very less attenuation as compared to optical fiber and coaxial cable and twisted pair. And obviously we have higher bandwidth, then resistance to corrosive materials. Now you must have seen if there is a cable which is lying because the copper, it is a metal, so it can have corrosion. It can be destroyed, but optical fiber, they are more resistance to corrosiveness. Then lightweight, and you must have seen the cable networks and the coaxial cable. It is very heavy because it is carrying a high amount of copper and a very thick outer plastic covering. So it becomes very heavy due to the copper metal and the plastic covering outside. So it is very heavy, but optical fiber cables are very less very light in weight. Then greater immunity to tapping. Now we'll see later if I don't know it is in the guidelines or not, but you can there is very great immunity to tapping. Now I think I must have told you one example. When we were kids, we used to have coaxial cables for cable TV, and anyone. Any neighbor or any intruder can cut that cable, though that was not easy to cut it, but they can cut it with a good cutter and they can tap into the signal and they can watch a movie. Your neighbors, without paying for the cable TV network, they can watch the movie simultaneously when you are watching the movie. Have I told you this example? Hello, good afternoon class. Yeah. So that means that is just an example which is very interesting. But when suppose you are transmitting your important confidential data through the coaxial cable and you have a backbone or you have a network using coaxial cables only, communication network, and you are sending confidential data through those coaxial cables and through that network which is built upon the transmission media used using coaxial cables. Then what will happen if somebody cuts your coaxial cable from in between and it taps into your data, taps into your coaxial cable, and it can just interpret your data, whatever signals you're sending, and it can just steal your data and the confidential data, and it can use it against your organization or yourself. So that is the disadvantage of coaxial cables. But fiber optical cables, they are very immune to tapping than copper cables, because even if when you will cut the optical fiber, it's not easy to cut, first of all, and even if you cut it, the light ray will leak out of the coaxial cable, not like electrical current, because electrical current will just pass through the coaxial cable. But when you will cut the optical fiber, there will be a for tapping, if you will cut it and you will try to tap the light ray, it will be distorted and you will not get the actual signal, because there will be reflection at that particular point, and there will be sharp light beam coming out of it, and you will damage your eyes or maybe some body parts because of the high intensity of the light. So it's not it's very difficult to tap into the optical fiber for the purpose of stealing the information. So very robust system using optical fiber cables. Then disadvantages. There are some disadvantages like installation and maintenance, unidirectional light propagation, and cost. So it is very costly because from source to destination you have a unidirectional light propagation. So for bidirectional communication you need two fibers to be present. So that's that adds to the cost. And the cable and the interfaces, everything are relatively more expensive, and but the bandwidth is very high. So if the demand is not for higher bandwidth, you can still go with the coaxial cable, this twisted pair. So if only some organization needs very high data bandwidth and higher data rate, then only it can invest into so much of expensive networks through fiber optic cables. And installation and maintenance, obviously, because for this coaxial cable network and this what do you call twisted pair network, that are already into place, because we started from the telephone system, and telephone system was the biggest, like MTNL in India or Delhi. Landline telephone system was the biggest communication system throughout the world in every country. So they already had that networking in place. So we have already invested so much in coaxial cable networks and twisted pair networks. And earlier cable TV networks were also in place. So we all the companies have already invested on so much of transmission media networking, and they have that infrastructure in place. So they can use the already existing network infrastructure which is already there, and then they can just have a higher end bandwidth or a higher data rate backbone only for the major and for the bigger big haul communication. Otherwise, to the subscribers home, to individual subscribers and customers home, you can still use the same thing and have this and use these fiber optic cables at the main backbones. Then we have unguided media. We discussed transmission media. In the last class, we discussed there are two types of transmission media. One is guided transmission media, another one is unguided transmission media. So far, we have discussed the guided transmission media that is divided into three parts. That was twisted pair, coaxial cable, and optical fiber. That's done. Now, unguided transmission media, or you can say wireless transmission media, it does not have a set path, and we are not limiting it to the physical structure of the this transmission media or the cable. So wherever you are just having a cable connection from source to destination, there only you can transfer the data and the signals in guided media. But in unguided media, you can just transmit it in the wireless form and in the air, in the free space, and anybody who is aligned to that source can receive the signal. That is, therefore it is unguided. So you are not guiding it where to send the signal and whom will receive. So unguided medium transport electromagnetic waves without using a physical conductor. So this type of communication is often referred to as wireless communication. So signals are normally broadcast through free space and thus are available to anyone who has a device capable of receiving them. Now, the next figure shows the part of the spectrum ranging from 3 kilohertz to 900 terahertz used for wireless communication. Now you can see the minimum is 3 kilohertz and the maximum is the highest spectrum range, that is 4 terahertz to 900 terahertz is the light wave spectrum, and then we have 300 hertz to 400 terahertz, 300 gigahertz to 400 terahertz as the infrared region, and the radio wave and the microwave region is from 3 kilohertz to 300 gigahertz. So these are the ranges: radio wave and microwave, infrared, and then the light wave. So highest spectrum is of EM waves is for light waves. The highest ranges for light waves, 400 to 900 terahertz. So now we have the unguided signals. They can travel through three types. They can travel in three ways. First is ground propagation, then sky propagation, and line of sight propagation. Now you can see next figure 7.18. The propagation method, the first propagation method, that is ground propagation, is you can see inside the blue circle, outside blue circle is ionosphere, and the inside black circle is the our Earth, Mother Earth. Okay, so you can transmit the signals on the surface of the Earth, along the surface of the Earth. You can see the dotted blue lines, arrow line, dotted line, and you can transmit in both the directions. This is known as ground propagation, and this is normally below 2 megahertz. So the data rate is very less. Then if you want to have a higher data rate and high speed and high data rate, then you can go for sky propagation, that is done through the ionosphere or the satellite communication. You can go for that. And for this, the data rate is 2 megahertz to 30 megahertz. And you can see there are two towers which are one is the transmitter on one end, another is the receiver on the another end. And the sender can transmit the data to the ionosphere, and then it is reflected back from the ionosphere to the receiver tower, and it is receiving the data. So the data rate is higher in case of sky propagation, and it is faster also, it is reliable also, and it can travel long distance. But in first case, ground propagation, it is limited. The physical distance to which the data can be propagated, data can be transmitted is limited to the very limited, because the signals will damp after some time. It will be the wireless signal which is being propagated will be damped, and it will need amplifiers, or it will not be received properly. Then in the third case, line of sight propagation, in which the two towers are in alignment. So they are aligned to each other, and they're basically in front of each other, kind of line of sight. So you can have a tower at one, like suppose you have two buildings facing each other, and on top of one building you are having a tower, transmission tower, and on another building you have a reception tower. Reception tower. And you can have two towers, the sender and the receiver, and they're in alignment, they're in line of sight. So they should not have any interference due to the Earth's curvature. So there should be alignment, and there you can use high speed data, and above 30 megahertz you can transmit. But the only restriction is there will be interference by the buildings and other physical structures if they are not in line of sight. They should be in line of sight, and they need the huge, the biggest towers to be. They need biggest buildings or big buildings, so that they can avoid the interference due to other physical structures which are on the ground. So these are the three types. So the spectrum, there are three bands: very low frequency band to very high, extremely high frequency bands. So you can see here, very low frequency band is, the range is 3 to 30 kilohertz, that is the ground propagation. Another also low frequency is 30 to 300 kilohertz ground propagation. And you can see the application also in the table, this table 7.4. Middle frequency range is 300 kilohertz to 3 megahertz. It uses sky propagation. Then 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz also, it uses sky propagation, which is in the high frequency range. And AM radio basically works from 300 kilohertz to 3 megahertz. So you can just see the frequency ranges and their usage. Okay. Then we have radio waves. So radio waves basically, normally radio waves and microwaves and EM waves, they are almost same, but we just mention basically the behavior of these waves is should be used as a criterion to classify them as compared to the frequency ranges. But normally we say the radio waves are in the range of 3 kilohertz to 1 gigahertz, and 1 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz are the microwaves. And radio waves, they are basically omnidirectional, and the antenna transmits the radio waves. They are propagated in omnidirectional, means every direction. You can see here. So these are the radio waves. You can see in figure 7.19 here, omnidirectional antenna. So it is transmitting the signal in all the directions. So any receiver antenna which is tuned to the frequencies which are being transmitted by this sending antenna, they will be able to receive the signal and process the signal. So applications of these types of radio waves is for FM and AM radio, for television broadcasting, and maritime radio, cordless phones, and paging are examples of multicasting. So basically, when you are transmitting the EM waves or radio waves, which are in the range of 300 to 3 kilohertz to 1 gigahertz, they are radio waves, and normally they're omnidirectional. So when we say omnidirectional, it is used for multicasting or broadcasting. And so you know very well that when we are using AM radio and FM radio and television broadcasting, any receiver which is tuned to that particular frequency which is being transmitted, then it is able to receive that particular signal. And we can tune our receiver to the particular frequency. And that is, so any receiver, that's not only directed for you. That is for every user which can tune into that particular frequency. So they are radio waves. So they are basically used for multicast or broadcast communication, such as radio, television, and paging system. Then we have the microwaves, which are the unguided media again, and they are in the range of 1 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz, and they are unidirectional. So they can travel in one line only. So when an antenna transmits microwaves, they can be narrowly focused, and this means that the sending and receiving antennas need to be aligned. So when you are doing line of sight transmission, you can use higher range frequencies. That is, you can use microwaves from 1 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. So microwave propagation is line of sight or unidirectional. They have a very high frequency and can't penetrate walls. You must have studied in physics that very high frequency waves, they cannot transmit the buildings and they cannot penetrate walls. So that's a disadvantage. So that's why they need line of sight transmission, and the receiver and the sender antenna should be in line of sight, and they should be aligned with each other. And they have a very wide range. So the data rate is very high, 299 gigahertz, and you can use some certain portions of the band, and they require the permission from the government authorities or higher authorities. So now you can see there are two types of unidirectional antennas. One is this parabolic dish antenna, which we use in dish TVs, and another is horn antenna. So you can see here the dish antenna, parabolic dish antenna, all the rays, EM waves, microwave frequencies जो आ रही हैं आपकी, they are coming to the parabolic dish, and they can come at any time, at any place on the parabolic dish, but they are being reflected at the same point. The focal point is same, the focus is same. So all are reflected back and being combined. They are being combined into one and they are being sent. So यहाँ पर जो आपकी waves आ रही हैं वो एक ही point पे focus कर रही हैं reflect back करके, और वहां पर वो combine करके आप उस signal को interpret कर सकते हैं. This is the advantage of dish TV. Why we are using parabolic dish? Because जितनी भी कहीं से भी आए, omnidirectional आपका एंटीना है जो सेंड कर रहा है, और ये आपका जो एंटीना है रिसीवर एंटीना, ये भी आपका omnidirectional है. तो बहुत सारी लाइट वेव्स आ रही है, बट दे आर बीइंग फोकस्ड, एंड वो सारी की सारी कंबाइन करके आपका एक सिग्नल आपका रिसीव करके वो आ रहा है. So different frequency, because why you need a parabolic dish, or why we are having different frequency components? Because आपका जो एक composite signal आ रहा है, हमने पहले AM और this amplitude modulation और frequency modulation में किया था, अगर आपको याद हो, कि कोई भी आपका, और Nyquist theorem भी कहती है कि आपका जो कोई भी सिग्नल आ रहा है, composite signal, it is made up of various frequency components. तो जितने भी फ्रीक्वेंसी कंपोनेंट्स है वो अलग अलग पाथ से अलग अलग डिफ्लेक्ट होके आ रहे हैं, तो वो इंसिडेंट हो रहे हैं पैराबोलिक डिश पर, और दे आर बीइंग कंबाइंड थ्रू द फोकल पॉइंट थ्रू दिस डिश एंटीना, एंड देन दे आर बीइंग कंबाइंड इनटू वन सिग्नल एंड देन बीइंग प्रोसेस्ड. सिमिलरली यू कैन सी द हॉर्न एंटीना. यहाँ से आपका जो हॉर्न एंटीना है, यहाँ से आपका यू कैन सी फ्रॉम द डाउन from the bottom of this horn antenna, you can see there is a tunnel through which your signal is being transmitted, but it is going to this is for going to at different wavelengths this is going, and at different points it is reflected from different parts of this horn. जो आपका एज है, ये जो कर्व है, यहाँ से कर्व से आर्क से वो डिफरेंट तरीके से डिफ्लेक्ट होके और रिफ्लेक्ट होके जा रहा है डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एंगल्स पे, और डिफरेंट फ्रीक्वेंसी कंपोनेंट्स अलग अलग जाके वो आपके सीग्रीगेट हो रहे हैं, वो अलग अलग से आपके अलग अलग एंगल पर रिफ्लेक्ट होके जा रहे हैं. तो दीज आर द हॉर्न एंटीनास एंड द parabolic dish antennas which are unidirectional. Then we have application of the microwave is unicast communication in case of cellular telephones or satellite network and wireless LANs. Then infrared, the last unguided media is infrared, and we all know infrared rays are the high frequency, और infrared हमेशा light waves ही होती हैं, as we have seen in the previous spectrum. You see here the spectrum, this. So after this radio wave and microwave, we have the infrared region, which is very very high, 300 gigahertz to 400 terahertz. So we say the property of frequencies, or property says if we have high range frequencies, very high frequencies, they cannot pass through walls and they cannot penetrate through the walls and the objects. So that concept we use in the remote controls of all the devices, electronic and electrical devices. So if we have TV remote or AC remote or some other remote which we are using, then we can have the infrared region and the very high frequencies, but they cannot penetrate. So you know their line of sight. So if you have a remote in the which is aligned to your device, you want to control your AC or your TV or your anything else, so that should be in line of sight. Beyond that, so you may be having multiple remotes at home. So one is for one AC, another is for another AC in another room, and third one is maybe for television and some other device. So for all those devices, to control all those devices, you need a different kind of infrared range and different remote, and they are not interfering with each other because they are in line of sight. So they are, but they are using very high frequency. So if you are using remote in one room, it is not impacting the devices, and another room it is not starting or switching off another device in another room because it cannot penetrate through walls. No. So that is infrared. So as I have told you, they are being guided by Infrared Data Association, IRDA, and they use the band almost 400 hertz band. So they have line of sight propagation, and communication is in a closed area, and the short range, that is 8 meters to 10 meters. And they have a 70, earlier they have a 75 kbps data rate for a distance of 8 meters. Now the standard has changed and it has increased to 4 mbps for this infrared. So that's all for this, and I'll just show you some pics here. Can you see this cable? This one?
Yes, ma'am.
This cable. So this is basically the connector you will be connecting in the socket. See this RJ45 types. Okay. And another one is just can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is basically a kind of BNC connector जो ये cable network में आता है. ठीक है? This is from into the set-top box, from the television to the set-top box. Okay, this is coaxial cable. And now this is basically which is connecting the Wi-Fi router. Okay. These are the small, very thin, lightweight. These are all optical fibers, small, just for connecting. Okay. And this is the connector. You can see this is the connector for which is going into the socket for wireless router. So ये endpoint है उसके लिए. This is not same as coaxial cable or twisted pair. This is for optical fiber. So this is the connector endpoint. You can see the difference on the tip. You can see this is different. The connector is different. So I've taken these pictures from the socket and the endpoints at my home wireless router. I think you must be having, you can just check and see. Okay. I hope it helped you to recognize the types of cables. I could not find the twisted pair at home. Okay, so you can see it. You must